voting day in Georgia. The sun's out, and we've had pretty steady voting throughout the day around the state of Georgia. We're on a path to hopefully break 1 million total voters when you include early voting and absentee voting. We had an issue a little bit earlier today for about 45 minutes. There was an outage on the My Voter page. It was a situation dealing with the capacity of Salesforce because there were so many people going to it that they were prepared for that. So that has since been addressed. My voter page is back up and working just fine. And I guess it's kind of a good bad thing. They got more people hitting my voter page than we anticipated for today. And now, again, it's a good lesson learned for the future when we have the big election in November. So everything's been very smooth. We've double checked. There have been no polling locations that open late. We've called every county. And they have said nothing open late, so I think it may be a record. The first time we had every single polling location open up on time. But we feel really good about how the day has gone. Again, the hiccup of the 45-minute outage, but that's been addressed, and we'll have it available for the rest of the day. And that's a few hundred people, but they can go check their status now, see if we need to go vote, and check the status of their absentee ballots. With that, I'll answer any questions. Man, life has gotten a lot easier since the old days, guys.
Maybe somebody with a question about MVP, but
okay.
Yeah.
Just preference the page thing that went out just for a second. Tell that.
Okay, was my voter page, was where voters can access information about their own polling locations, their sample ballots and stuff. It was about 45 minutes while we addressed capacity issues with our vendor Salesforce. They had to do some structural changes on the back end. And it was kind of like when you talk to Comcast and AT&T when something's going on with your phone, they tell you to be 5 minutes, you call back in 5 minutes, tell you to be 5 minutes. Same kind of thing. We thought it'd be a 10, 15-minute fix turned into 45 minutes, which is not the best in the world, but it ain't too bad.
What was the volume again?
I don't know the exact amount of volume that's going into it because it's not just the users, it's things they're requesting. When you're requesting to download a sample ballot, it's a lot more capacity than it is if you're just looking at your polling location. So it's not a question of number of users, but we were in the thousands at a time of doing it at that point. So we monitor this as we go, and we can see that we monitor on every half-hour angles, and it just slowed down unexpectedly. And again, I won't get deep in the weeds on this. It's part of an org, which is part of a pod, and there were other users inside the pod that was taking capacity for processing down, and that's what it was a series of events that happened all at one time. So it wasn't just our organization, it was other organizations pulling from the same processing power. And again, I'm a liberal arts major from the University of Georgia, so about the best I can explain it.
do you have a total on the number of votes that have been cast?
We don't have a total. We know we're looking at probably, we're pretty sure just from the anecdotal discussions we've had that we're over 800,000 total. So like I said, we're well on a path to break 1 million, which is more than we had in the PPP. Of course, in the PPP, that was already decided. So in this case, we have a lot of local races. There are sheriff's races around the state. We have certain counties that will probably break 40% turnout in our rural areas, and that's really great. I mean, I wish everybody cared as much about their county commissioner and state house members as they do about their sheriff, because they seem to love their sheriffs here in the state.
Can you talk about how big this voter turnout is? I know Secretary of State said earlier this one's bigger than the presidential primary. It's a pretty big turnout for this round.
Well, historically compared to other general primaries, it's a little lower because we don't have a governor's race, we don't have a Senate race driving turnout and having the spending on those things. It's ahead of the PPP, the presidential preference primary, but of course when the PPP hit here, everything was all but decided, so not as big of an incentive to show up. Another good thing we've seen so far today is in the presidential preference primary, about 78% of absentee ballots were returned. If you take the ones we've seen that were canceled, which as of early voting was about 1,490 something, plus that's been accepted so far, we were at 71% starting the day. So we have an entire day of processing to go, and I'm hopeful that our communications to folks telling them to go to MVP and see if the ballot's been accepted, and if it hasn't, to go turn out and vote, will help drive that number higher, because we want to make sure that everybody's vote is protected. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much, and have a great day.
How do you think the next one will be? Well,